Shalom. First and foremost, want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that were well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. Okay, I just wanted to go into, I know many brothers done covered this already, but I just wanted to go into the whole, the statues of it said random fat black women popping up worldwide. Just wanted to get my take on it, And just as many of the other brothers have said, this is a mockery to the so-called black woman, to Eve, which is really telling the truth. But also, too, Eve don't see it that way. They don't see it as mockery. The mass majority of them think it's some type of, they think they being recognized or put on some type of pedestal. But really, this is mockery. And the Lord allowed this to come out. Like the Lord allowed this to come out and go worldwide. This is worldwide news. Other countries are seeing this and they're laughing. They are laughing at you, so-called black women, because they have been seeing, again, you got to think about it. Social media, TikTok and all this is worldwide, meaning people of other countries and other nations can see the same content that you see, same videos that you see. You don't think these people are looking and watching videos of what's going on over here in America, how wicked the women are here, especially so-called black women, Israelite women in general, but it started with the so-called black women, how they're uncompatible, they're untrustworthy, unfaithful, unloyal, how dangerous they really are, crazy, so on and so forth, and the mass majority of them, And I remember hearing a brother from GMS Kansas City and say, unfortunately, which is a true statement, unfortunately, the ones that are good, the good ones, you get overshadowed by all the corrupt, evil ones, because that's not to say that the entire race of Israelite women, starting with the so-called black women over here in America, is evil. But the mass majority of them are. And the ones that are good do get outshined or overshadowed, not outshined, overshadowed by the ones that's not, You get overshadowed. But it's okay, because Yahweh Shem Shah is going to pair the women up that's going to be saved, that's going to make it. He's going to pair them up with brothers. They're going to be okay. They're going to be in good situations. They have everything to look forward to, because the scriptures do not lie. And the Lord said she shall be saved in childbearing in Timothy, which we'll get there too. But back to the statue, this statue is a complete mockery. And I don't feel no shame about it. I really don't even care. I'm ready to see Babylon destroyed, honestly. I can care less. But just seeing, especially this one, the one in especially that one, the one that was in New York, because that's completely unattractive, And the so-called black women, they think that the way that they look, let me say this right. Let me say this correctly. They think with their current lifestyle, their current diet, their current when it comes to taking care of themselves physically, mentally, spiritually, but primarily physically, they think that they just do whatever they want to do, and you're supposed to accept it. As a man, you're supposed to accept them as they are. And that's never been the case. That's not the case. Because Israelite women, it's a known fact, the Israelite women are the most beautiful, attractive women on the face of the earth. But the only reason why they were the most beautiful and attractive women on the face of the earth is because you had a custom and a lifestyle that brought out that beauty, both inwardly and outwardly. You had a lifestyle and a culture that cultivated you into that into that status, you know. It cultivated you into that position, you know. Now, it's a lot of Israelite women out here, you know, they are just naturally beautiful, you know, naturally have a nice body, naturally have a nice face, you know, just everything is proportionate, everything looks well put together, like the Lord just said, mwah, you know. But for the mass majority of women, they don't know anything about the proper diet. They don't even know who they are. So they're not going to know about the proper diet for the mass majority of them. They're not going to know about hygiene, proper hygiene, because everything they've learned is westernized, Western culture. They don't know anything about Eastern culture. And they don't know anything about where they originate from. And what's funny is because these women, or Jake in general, but especially these women, they will associate themselves with African American and don't even know anything about the culture of Africa, you know, which shows to show you that you don't associate yourself with it. You just been told that. You've been told a lie and you don't associate yourself with that lie. That's what you believe because that's what you've been told. But for the most part, they don't try to put themselves in a position to look and feel their best. And a lot of women, especially in the younger ages, they start to feel the effects of things that they should feel if they were older. You know, body giving out on them, diet, messing with their bodies. You know, they feeling symptoms of, or rather, them not being active and mobile. A lot of they, like for example, not exercising, not moving around, not actually utilizing your muscles, utilizing, not being active, walking, you know, for example, when they actually do have to walk, like for example, up some stairs or something like that, they get to the top of a 2-story building or something like that, they're tired. They're breathing hard, they're tired. And again, the mass majority, a lot of them are overweight, out of shape. That's a shame. And the mass majority of women don't even be 40. And if they are 40, that's still not old. You know, 40 is not old at all. 50, believe it or not, is not old, you know. And you got a lot of people that's in their 60s and 70s still looking like they're in their 40s because they've been taking care of their bodies and putting the proper nutrition, eating the proper things to get the nutritious value that they need. But going to this picture, the second one in the middle, the one that was in New York, this is an accurate representation of the modern and average so-called black woman. And again, it's a mockery because you're not desired. You are the least desired. This is statistically proven. You are the least desired women on the earth, you know? And even the so-called Edomite man, the so-called white man, he'll go deal with Moabites, so-called Chinese, so-called Japanese. He'll go deal with women of the other tribes before he deal with you. And not to put him on a pedestal or anything, because he is the wicked, and this is his kingdom. That's why he's able to do that in the first place. But that's just to put the basis of men, because he is literally the most wicked thing in creation. The so-called white man is the most wicked thing in creation, followed right behind his female counterpart, the Shedemite. Most wicked things created. And they don't even want to deal with you. You know, the so-called white man doesn't even want to deal with you. Now, on the flip side, the so-called white woman, they love Jake. Women all around the world love the Israelite man. They're in love with the Israelite man. Even in our lowest state, even in our worst condition, they still want Jake. But it's not like that for you. And the only chance you had was to deal with your own men, and you don't even want to deal with your own men. You don't want to be subjective. I mean, subject unto your own men, as the scriptures say. So, just going into this is and especially in this picture, in the second one, it shows you the masculinity of the woman. It shows you that she's not in the mindset of being led or following a man, not her man. Honestly, this looks like a statue of a single mother. That's what this statue looks like. It looks like the statue of a single mother leading her household, which is complete mockery. But I'm gonna get Proverbs 31, because of course most women, they love the Proverbs 31 scripture. Love to get it tatted on them or somewhere near and associated with them. And they probably haven't even read it, honestly. Not the whole chapter. But even if they have, they don't associate themselves with anything about it. This is Proverbs 31. I'm going to start at verse 1, A and P. It says, the words of King Lemuel, the oracle, which his mother taught him. What, O my son, and what, O son of my womb, and what shall I advise you, O son of my vows? Do not give your generative strength to women, neither foreign wives in marriages or alliances, nor concubines, nor your ways that which destroy kings. Right, and in KJV it said, give not thy strength to women. Why? Why not? Because, and it's a generative, of course, going into, being able to produce children and offspring. That's not really what it's going into. But we supposed to follow Yahweh Shem Yahushua, keeping our eye on Yahweh Shem Yahushua, keeping him first in our life. We're not supposed to put a woman first. We're not, because the Lord told us not to put anything before him. It said not to put any gods before him, and doing anything contrary to what Yahweh Shem Yahushua is, putting something else before him, something that you're willing to submit to and bow down to, And a lot of men, they submit and bow down to their women, or submit and bow down to women in general, even if it's not their women. And it said that destroys kings. That'll destroy a whole man's life by submitting to a woman. We weren't created to submit to women. Women were created to submit to us. And this is all going to tie into like those statues, especially the one that was in the second picture, because that woman, she doesn't look like she's going to submit to no man, not the Israelite man. Verse 4. It is not for kings, which I'm going to skip down. Let's skip down. Verse 10. An excellent woman, one who is spiritual, capable, intelligent, and virtuous, who is he who can find her? Her value is more precious than jewels, and her worth is far above rubies or pearls. It says, an excellent woman. Let's see what the F in the footnotes. Okay, it says, it's not going into it. It says, an excellent woman, or a virtuous woman in the KJV, one who is spiritual, capable, spiritual, dealing with spiritual first, having an understanding of who Yahweh Shem Yahushua is, what he requires of her, and who is in charge and over her, and knowing that he has a responsibility to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. She's supposed to follow him, She is supposed to follow him in every aspect, every way, and in everything that she do. She's always supposed to be spiritually minded, and not moving carnally. The people of this world, they move carnally, especially Jake. That's why the Lord considered them spiritually dead. We were all once spiritually dead, moving 100% carnally. But it wasn't until Yahweh Shem Shah woke us up. Now we're able to move through the spirit. In a lot of situations that we find ourselves in, we don't crash out or spaz out because we move spiritually now. And the same with women. Even though they're the weaker vessel, that doesn't eliminate them being spiritual. So it says one who is spiritual, capable. She's more than capable of being a wife, a mother, capable of taking care of her household, taking care of a man, taking care of children, knowing what to do in situations. If a situation may arise, or it might not even be just a situation like something bad or something. It can be just capable of being beneficial to that man. Sirach chapter 26, the whole Sirach chapter 26, when they talk about a virtuous woman. I'll get that scripture real quick. I think I'm already there. Well, this 25. See, this is Sirach chapter 25. I'm going to start here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. It says, verse 16, I had rather dwell with a lion and a dragon than keep house with a wicked woman. The wickedness of a woman changeth her face and darkeneth her countenance like sackcloth. That's literally what it looked like. This woman on the second picture, that's what it looked like. She fits that description. Even though it's a statue, and even though it doesn't symbolize like a woman with children or anything like that, you can just tell by the energy that it gives off that this woman fits that bill. Because this is a representation, a physical representation of the modern black woman in America. And this is not a video to bash or hate on women. This is merely to tell you the truth. Tell you the truth about yourself. If you offended, then obviously this is applied to you. And if you don't change, the Lord Yahweh Shem Shah is going to destroy you. And it don't make a difference to me, because I'm just a messenger telling you the truth. But at the same time, if it does offend you and it makes you feel some type of way, you should repent. You should really examine yourself in the mirror and ask the Lord to help you change your ways, because a woman like this is not going to be saved. She's not going to be paired up with a man of the Lord. He's not going to accept it. He's not going to accept her. But like it said, a wicked woman back in Sirach chapter 25, you can just tell that statue gives out that type of energy. She doesn't look submissive. She doesn't look modest. She doesn't look spiritual. She doesn't look capable. Not capable of righteous things. So going back to Sirach, now I'm going to go to Sirach 26. It says, blessed is the, Sirach 26 and 1. Blessed is the man that have a virtuous wife, for the number of his days shall be double, which I'm not going to read all of it, but I'm going to just read verse 2. Well, I'll read to verse 3. A virtuous woman rejoiceth her husband, and he shall fulfill the years of his life in peace. And that's something that men have to be single for the most part. Most men have to be single just to find peace. They have to be, and that's not even just with the Israelite man. That's men in general in Babylon the Great. You got Edomites having to deal with their women, which this is that should be a natural thing anyway, because they are not the chosen people at all. Nothing spiritual about them. They supposed to be going through those type of problems. But when it comes to the women over here in America in general, a man typically has to be alone or single in order for him to find some type of peace, because these women were not built to be a pillar of rest. You know, they were not built to be a pillar of rest. They were not built to be virtuous wives. That's why I said in the beginning, the women that are that has transformed, that's changing, that's trying their hardest and their best, you get overshadowed by all the wicked women. But it's okay because the Lord is going to pair you up with who you need to be with in the time to come. Now, verse 3, it says, a good wife is a good portion, which shall be given in the portion of them that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Right. So going back to Proverbs 31. And in the KJV, it says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. But the AMP, an excellent woman, one who is spiritual, capable, now it says intelligent, you know, has some sort of, has an intelligence about her. She's intelligent, you know, able to, and in modern day, you know, the modern day age, intelligence is just, you know, it could be the basic level intelligence, you know, not something like, not saying she got to have a college degree or anything like that, but just intelligence. And this, and not just worldly intelligence, it could be spiritual intelligence too, you know. But intelligence, it says, and virtuous. Who is he that can find her? Who is he who can find her? Because that's like going into all this built into one woman in this day and age. Man, that's rare, you know. But like the scriptures say in Sirach, a good wife is given its portion to them that fear Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. A woman that's built of that caliber, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai literally has to pair you up with her. Because believe it or not, it's not like it's not one woman that exists that wouldn't fit this bill. Like a woman that's not trying. It's not saying that it's not a woman that's not trying. It says, the heart of her husband trusts in her with secure confidence, and he will have no lack of gain. Right. And those women on that statue do not embody any of this. Especially the one, again, that's in New York. They do not embody this. Now, I'm going to jump down. Verse 17, AMP, she equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task and makes her arm strong, going into her being beneficial to her husband. You know, having skills, because that's another thing that our women had. They had skill sets that they did to also benefit her husband, her household, you know. Women sold things too. They might, you know, be good at making type of clothes, making fabrics, making, you know, different, just crafty. They were very creative, very crafty. Salaki. But it says she equips herself with strength, spiritual, mental, and physical fitness for her God-given task. And what does that sound like? Mind, body, and soul. You know how they say, you know, your mind, body, and soul all connected. Well, not all connected, but being at one. You know, mentally, spiritually, and physically. That's what it's going into. But also too, even that aspect, spiritually, again, like you said, she's spiritual, mental, intelligent, you know, all that mind and spirit it go hand in hand, but also to a certain level of intelligence. It says, and physical fitness, meaning she had a shape, because our women had shapes. You know, they wasn't overweight or anything like that. It's a difference between being thick and being overweight or being fat, you know. And in today's age, that line gets blurred too much, you know, gets blurred entirely too much. And people, they like to hide it behind body shaming, which is not body shaming, because our culture, especially with us being, when we was in our land, we moved around a lot. We traveled a lot, you know. You had to walk. You had to exercise. You had to move. You had to stay in shape. You couldn't be inactive. We are very active people, So moving around literally is our thing. And we also stayed in shape. We had a fit, our daily tasks, whatever your job may have been, it's going to require you to move around, which is going to automatically put you in shape when you're doing daily activities, labor, manual labor. It's going to automatically work you out. So, we had a shape about us, but Babylon the Great doesn't do that. Babylon the Great doesn't teach you about the proper diet and the proper exercises that you need to do to keep yourself in shape and keep yourself up, which hence going back to that statue. That's why I said the statue of fat black women. It's all mockery. Now I'm gonna jump down. Okay, I'm just gonna jump down. This is Proverbs 31 and 30. And this is a lot of women's favorite scripture to post on their social media bio. They like to put it in any type of things that they doing, like an interview or something, and they put it in their resume. Well, I ain't gonna say their resume. I don't know. I know they would put in their social media bio or their biography about themselves. That's what they put. They'll get it tattooed on their body, so on and so forth. Or even put on their license plate, whatever the case may be. I think I've seen it on a license plate before. Let me see. Not 31 and 30, but, well, yeah. I think I've seen PRO 3130 before. But it says charm and grace, which I'm going to read it both in KJV and NLT. I'm going to read KJV first. It says, favor is deceitful and beauty is vain, but a woman that feareth the Lord, she shall be praised. Now verse 31, chapter 31 to verse 30. Charm and grace are deceptive, and superficial beauty is vain. But a woman who fears the Lord, reverently worshiping, obeying, serving, and trusting him with all filial respect, she shall be praised. Right. So it says a woman, charm and grace are deceptive, which is favor, and superficial beauty is vain. This modern day definition of beauty is flawed and vain. Women go out their way to buy the hair, the nails, the lashes, the eyebrows, drawing it on, buy body modifications, so on and so forth, to feel beauty or beautiful. And that's not even the definition of beauty. And that's not how you look. I'm talking about the so-called black women, because they are notorious for doing this. One second. They are notorious for doing this, and then they will try to shame a man for not keeping maybe his hair not done, especially on them pop the balloon shows. They have it the worst. You see it worse on there, because those women, it's rare to see a natural, and it's mainly Eve on there. It's rare to see a natural woman on there. Like natural hair, natural body, natural facial features, just all 100% natural. Every single last one of them are gonna come up. It's gonna come on the show with something on their head, something somewhere, and will shame a man for coming out if his hair ain't cut, or if they don't like his shoes or something. Will pop the balloon just because of that. It's all superficial. And this is what they care about. But the Lord said, all of this is vain. It said, but a woman who fears the Lord, reverently worshiping and obeying and serving and trusting. How do they worship, obey, serve, and trust the Lord? By doing it to their man. Because the man is over the woman. So when you serve, when you obey and trust in the man that Yahweh Shem Shai has given unto you as a woman, it's like doing it to Yahweh Shai. Because that man is above you. He is over you. He is your head. It says she should be praised. That type of woman should be praised. And I'm going to get 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. I'm going to read to verse 4. It says, in the same way, you wives, be submissive to your own husbands, subordinate, not as inferior, but out of the respect for the responsibilities entrusted to husbands and their accountability to the Most High. So be submissive to your man because you know that he has a duty from Yahweh Shema Shah that he has to do. And he's supposed to orchestrate his household according to the standards of the Lord. Your job is to follow that order and further implement it to the children to make sure that whole order is being followed. It says, and so partnering with them so that even if some do not obey the word of the Most High, they may be won over to Yahweh Shai without discussion by the godly lives of their wives. And when they see your modest and respectable behavior, together with your devotion and appreciation, love your husband, encourage him, and enjoy him as a blessing from the Most High. Your adornment must not be merely external. Like it says, superficial beauty is vain. With interweaving and elaborate knotting of the hair and wearing gold jewelry or being superficially preoccupied with dressing in expensive clothing, which is the mass majority of modern day women. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look nice. That's not what the scripture is going into. But women value that more than the inner person, than them actually being the type of woman that Proverbs 31 exemplifies. You know, they would rather go to the standard of how a woman's supposed to be according to Western culture versus how the Lord set it up. But then they had the nerve to have Proverbs 31, whether it be 30 or just 31, somewhere closely associated with them. Like that you and that scripture do not match up. They don't add up. You know, you don't fit that precept. Verse 4, it says, but let it be the inner beauty of the hidden person of the heart, which is your mind, your mindset. Because your mindset is going to show the type of person that you are. With the imperishable quality and unfading charm of a gentle and peaceful spirit, one that is calm and self-controlled, not over anxious, but serene and spiritually mature, which is very precious in the sight of the Most High. So a direct link right back to Proverbs 31. That's the type of woman that is precious in the sight of the Lord, that the woman that should be praised, you know. But when it comes to these statues, especially the second one, that woman do not fit that bill. She don't fit that precept. And again, this statue is supposed to represent the mass majority of the modern black woman, even if they're not built like this. You have a lot of them that are built like this, but that energy she gives off, and that mindset, it paints in your mind for her to have. Even her stance. Look at the way she's standing. That doesn't seem feminine, you know, soft and feminine. So with everything that this statue is showing, it's a mockery, but it's also showing the so-called black women, this is you. You know, even if you're not shaped this way, this is you. And the energy she gives off, this is the energy that you give off. It's why the mass majority of you are single, not married. And if you have children, you're not with the father. But, you know, it's a lot of situations out there where you got righteous women that's in that situation too. And again, the Lord is going to take care of you. But the vast majority of women that's in that situation, they're going to die alone. And it's going to be through the judgments of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. They're not going to just grow old, you know, and actually see all the way to the end of their lives when they turn 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever the age they think that they would actually see. You know, it's going to be through all the judgment that the Lord is going to bring as he continually bring down his country. So, Lord will, this was an edifying lesson. I want to give our praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS that rule well. Peace, love, and salutations to all the brothers out there pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to the brothers, sisters, and children out there keeping this word of sincerity and the truth. And until next time, Shalom.